¿Qué onda, vatos? Thanks again for tuning in to yet another video. Infamous coming at you from the studio. We're going to be looking at the entry-level motorcycles for Harley and Indian. And you know what? I'm just going to be upfront with it. Both of these bikes aren't the same. Yes, this is the entry level for Harley-Davidson and the entry level for Indian. But these bikes don't feel the same at all. They're different bikes. But if you guys want to compare them, we are. But if you were to ask me, I'd go with the Sportster, mainly because of the aftermarket support. You can find a lot of these parts out there, and this bike has been around for decades and decades. It's been around for a long time. You can still find parts for these. If you guys seen the Shade Tree videos, he has I think he used to have the FXR, and he was able to pick up parts for that bike. Even though that bike's probably over 20 years old, he was able to go into a part shop, motorcycle shop, and still get parts for his bike. You can find parts on Amazon, Chinese knockoff parts for the Sportster, easy, all day, and most of them are gonna fit your bike. You know, it's just when you're buying stuff from Amazon, it's an iffy, but most of the time, 8 out of 10 times, when you're buying parts from Amazon for your Sportster, they are gonna fit. You can't really say the same with any other bike out there. There's just so much support in the aftermarket for Harley-Davidson. It's beyond anything else. It's beyond metric cruisers, Indians, whatever there is. Harley-Davidson has been making these bikes for over 100 years. So, and like I said, the Sportster's been around for over, I think, 20 years. If you're looking at modifying, bolt-on, plug-and-play parts, tinkering, just making it your own build, club style build, cafe build, rally build, all kinds of different stuff, motocross build, whatever you want to do, you can find parts for this bike, for the Sportster. And if you guys want to stick around and watch the rest of the video, you guys can. It'd be much appreciated. But we're gonna start kind of looking at a few different things when we're comparing these two different bikes. Alright, so let's just go ahead and start off with the Sportster. Of course, it's been around for many years. Still has the same styling. It's that iconic Sportster look. It's got a great overall feel. I like the bike. I really enjoyed mine. I had a 2005 Sportster. It had all that great feel of a Harley-Davidson, that classic feel, that vibration, that sound. It's a Harley-Davidson. It's got the overall feel, sound, everything, the experience. Like I said, it's a great bike. I've enjoyed mine for many years, and I honestly do miss that feel of a Sportster. I like the bike. I like the way it feels, the mid controls and the handlebars. It's a great combination. It's a great feeling triangle. I really like it. So let's get into the Indian over here, and this is more of a classic look, more of a traditional look, but it's got modern components. As you can see, it's got a huge radiator in the front, and that's because it's got a liquid cooled V-twin. And this engine is absolutely beautiful. Look at these lines. Look at these push rod lines to kind of make it look like it's just paying homage to the old school V-twin, to the air cooled V-twin. And it doesn't have the fins, as you can see over here. This one has fins. That's because it's air cooled. This one, however, does not have air fins. It's a liquid cooled, so it has that radiator in the front. And I mean, it just depends on the person. Some people just hate this look. They don't like the radiator. So I mean, it just depends on the person. So I'm not gonna try to get into it too much, but the overall feel of the Scout, it's more, like I said, it's more traditional. It's got a longer wheelbase. It's a longer motorcycle. It's a longer bike. So it is gonna prefer going straight over kind of maneuvering and being agile. But I mean, it feels great. It still feels light. It's about 550 pounds. It's a light, small little bike. Same thing with the Sportster. I believe it weighs around the same. But the Indian does have more of a traditional look. It's got that forward controls and the buckhorn handlebars. So it is going to have more of a relaxed feel over the Sportster. And like I mentioned, it's just going to depend on what you're looking for. The Indian has, like I said, has that traditional look, but it feels more of a modern bike. It does feel like a metric cruiser. It does not feel like a Harley-Davidson. The Harley-Davidson, you have all of that traditional feel, that traditional sound, and it looks great. So like I said, if you were to ask me, I'd go Sportster all the way, but let's keep on going with the comparison. honestly, if you were to ask me over the Indian, I think there's a few other options for you to consider if you want that modern technology. If you want more modern components on the bike, I'd probably suggest maybe looking at a few metric cruisers, because it does have that feel. All right, so now let's get into the performance of each bike, and of course the Indian Scout is going to be above and beyond Harley-Davidson. It does have a liquid cooled V-twin. It's more efficient. It has overhead valves, so it is going to perform a lot better than the Harley-Davidson, of course. But looking at the overall numbers, as you can see, we're around the same torque. Most of the time for these cruisers, they're just known for their torque. So you're looking at 73 foot-pounds, and like I mentioned, you're going to feel that and see that at 3,500 RPM. So that's more of the city type of riding around the town. And for a bike that has a 3-gallon tank, that's probably where I would say you want to be at. You want to be able to feel that power, and you are going to see it a lot with the Sportster. You are going to feel that power. And when we look at the Scout, you're looking at around the same foot-pounds of torque, but you're looking at a higher number, 6,000 RPM. So that's what I mean by different bikes. You are going to see this more often, 3,500 RPM. That's where the bike likes sitting at. You are going to feel that power. And opposed to the Scout, you are going to have to go a little bit higher, 6,000 RPM, so you can feel that performance. So it's the same thing with the stage kits. Stage 3, it's more torque, bottom end. Stage 4 is kind of the opposite, more top end. They just feel different. One's better for highways, kind of like the Indian Scout. It's got that longer wheelbase. It's a longer bike, so it is gonna prefer highway riding. And you know what? The overall design for that bike fits it perfectly. It's got the forward controls. It's got the handlebars for it, more of a relaxed feel. So yes, the Indian Scout makes sense. It's got the performance, the weight, the size, everything. So they're both different bikes. But the Sportster ain't no slouch, so it could also keep up. I believe the Sportster only has five gears. And on that note, like I said, it's going to depend on the rider. Some people feel that some of these bikes don't need a 6th gear. My Metro Cruiser, I take that thing on the highway all the time, and it only has 5 gears. And I don't, you know what, I don't feel like I need a 6th gear on that bike, but it just depends on the rider. Some people are going to feel strongly about having 6 gears, and other people they're going to feel strongly about just having 5 gears is sufficient. But like I said, I'm not going to get into it too much about that. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the overall comparison. We have beautiful looking bikes. They're both beautiful bikes. Price wise, the Iron 1200 is cheaper. You're looking at $10,000 opposed to the Indian Scout. You're looking at $12,000. If you're looking at modifying bolt-ons, plug and play, whatever, you have to consider the Harley-Davidson. So in the aftermarket, Harley-Davidson wins hands down. All right, let's go into the next one. The overall feel of a classic cruiser. Yes, they both have that. They're both cruisers. They both feel amazing. It's just like I mentioned, the wheelbase on the Scout is a little bit longer. You have the forward controls, so it's going to be more of a relaxed feel. The Sportster, it's got mid controls, so you are going to be able to throw this thing around, throw it into corners. You are going to be able to perform a little bit, maneuver a little bit better on the Sportster than you are on the Indian Scout. And on that point of the feel, the Harley-Davidson is going to have more of a classic American feel, mainly because it's an air-cooled V-twin. And it's just the vibration and everything in the Sportster. It's more of a classic feel as opposed to the Scout. The Indian Scout, it's a liquid cooled, so it is going to have more of a modern feel. Both bikes have good sound. It's just going to depend on what you put on them. Like I said, there is a lot of support for the Harley-Davidson. You are going to be able to get different sound, but both bikes feel good and they sound great. As far as the engine, air-cooled, liquid-cooled, yes, there are a lot of benefits to liquid-cooled, and there are some benefits to air-cooled. just to kind of keep it short. Maintenance. The maintenance on the air-cooled is going to be a little bit less compared to the maintenance on the liquid-cooled. It's kind of like the final drive on some of these bikes. You have a chain drive, and then you have a belt drive, and then some of them they also offer shaft drives. You know what? That's pretty much it. You guys just stay out there, stay safe. Don't believe everything you read. Life's a risk. Get out there and ride. Later.